y dos, y dos, una, y dos, una, y dos.
Hello and welcome to Cortes NYC Livestream, the podcast.
This show broadcasts out of New York City.
We are your hosts, Cortes NYC.
And Carla de Puerto Rico.
And on this show, we talk about art, creativity, city life from a Latino perspective. I'm a visual artist.
And I'm a singer.
And this is episode 68. Back to work. Let's go. A trabajar.
As always, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, and Spotify, and on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr.
And don't forget, I have an online store, cortesnyc.bigcartel.com. That's cortesnyc.bigcartel.com. On there, you can find original art, graffiti pins, stickers, posters, all kinds of stuff you can buy that help support your favorite artists.
And let's get on with the show.
Yeah, Carla. Back to work, Carla. A trabajar.
That's right, yeah. Gotta go back to work.
Así nos tratan.
So bad.
Vacation's over.
Vacation is over. Vacation.
Back in New York.
Yeah, back to the cold, to the windy, to the snow.
Oh yeah, they don't give a break either,
Not
man.
nice, but
I went back to work. The second I walk into the office, they didn't even give me a second. I just walked into the room. Everybody's talking. I walk into the room and just out of the corner of my eye, I see that crowd of people, and then I hear out of the side of my ear, I hear, "Oh, there he is."
oh no.
There he is.
The nerve.
And I'm like,
Yeah, okay, I know I'm here, of course.
And of course, they had papers in their hands, and they were ready to attack me with
come at you.
questions that need answering, projects that need
God.
addressing.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it was. They didn't even let the tan fade.
Wow.
Before
Was
they
like,
attacked me.
"Oh, you're tan? You look nice. Okay.
Exactly.
Let's get back to work."
Exactly. And then all the apologies. "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to. But can you look at this?"
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back. Yeah. By the way, how was the trip? Yeah. Okay. Can you look at this?
Okay, yeah, okay, right. We know you don't care. So
No.
what are you asking?
Listen, I told them. I said, "Look, I'm back. I understand. I'm back. It's not a problem. That's the life we live, right? So I
It is what
understand.
it is.
Vacations are just a short little fantasy, a little
Shouldn't be.
daydream. It
Shouldn't be, but
Well,
okay.
it wouldn't be a vacation if it wasn't.
I know, but I don't know. I'm in the belief that you should have more time off,
I agree with him.
or at least shorter days for work. Like work 4 days in a week and have a full 3 days weekend. Because a weekend is supposed to start on a Friday, but on a Friday at 7 p.m., that's not a full day. It's just 2 days.
Well, I think the
But-
feeling that I got coming back to work is why I'm so hesitant to take vacations, because I know that the minute you take a vacation, you get comfortable, and then you go back, and then you have to get reminded. You have
Right.
to get those hits on the head to remind you what your daily life is like.
Right.
And I can't complain. I enjoy my job, but it is a reminder that we're here to work, and beaches and Chiva buses and all that stuff is just.
That's sad. It should be part of our regular routine.
All right. Well, anyway, we're back to work. Okay, we're back in the studio. We're recording a podcast, and we're going back to artwork too. So this week, I wanted to talk about the power of the pencil. I've been putting this one out for a while. I had wanted to go back to this subject, and it's something that is near and dear to me. So if you guys are listening out there, all you artists, pull up a chair. All you graffiti artists, gather around. Tell your homies, gather around. We're going to talk a little bit about the pencil. And I think the pencil is something that we all take for granted. Many of us feel too cool for pencils now, right? We're beyond the pencil.
Yeah.
Now we have fancy tools that we have to get either online, a computer, or a program that's going to help me be the best artist.
Yeah,
Or-
you don't need an actual pencil.
I don't
You
need a
just need
pencil no more.
your technological pencil.
Yeah, well, yeah, I have my iPad. I have
Your
my
iPad, yeah.
my Wacom tablet, my iPad. I don't need a pencil anymore. What the pencil? What am I, a caveman?
Yeah.
I don't need a pencil for it. But I'm here to tell you, if you did a little research and you went back and backtracked and learned a little bit about the pencil as I did, I'm not gonna bore you with too many facts, but I'm gonna give you some. But if you did a little research, you will realize the power of the pencil. The pencil is an amazing tool. It changed a lot of things in culture. It traveled around the world.
Yeah.
The pencil is, if you research the pencil, you're gonna find some history videos that will tell you that the pencil is the perfect example of an invention that is perfected by usage over the period of time by many cultures. So it was invented for one purpose, but
Yeah.
then another culture took it on and added their little element to it, and then the next culture added to it, and then they used the pencil for what they needed, and then so on until eventually we ended up with what we know today as the modern pencil. Now, the modern pencil,
Mechanical pencil?
no,
Or
the modern pencil, what is what the
just
first
a
thing?
wood.
What is the first thing you imagine when I say pencil? What comes to your
wood?
head?
The yellow wood pencil
Exactly.
with the brownish, reddish eraser.
Exactly. Yep. That's the modern pencil. And even the eraser, adding the eraser to it
Yeah.
was a cultural addition to the pencil. Painting it yellow was a cultural addition. Before it was painted yellow, it was in many different forms
Yeah.
and many different colors. And until they finally settled on yellow, and it became the most popular. And then to this day, when we talk about pass me a pencil, you imagine a yellow pencil.
Yeah.
And you imagine a number 2 pencil. That's another invention along the history of the pencil. Grading the amount of graphite in the pencil became a thing. So calling it number 1 or number 2 or number 3. Eventually, number 2 became the most popular,
Yeah.
the most common. But all right, let's go for some quick facts, and then we'll just discuss a little bit about the pencil. I don't know if I'm going to bore you, Carla, but let's go with this.
Well, let's go. I'm here to learn,
Well,
as always.
I'm sure you've used a pencil in your life.
Yeah, I was going to say that even if you're not an artist as a
Oh,
person,
100%.
with a pencil or a pen, if you handwrite stuff, I think you remember. I think it's more meaningful
Yes.
than writing it in your phone. I found that sometimes I write stuff by hand and it means more to me, and I feel like I'm doing more than just writing a text on my phone or keeping notes.
Well, I'm
so-
here to tell you that the pencil doesn't discriminate. The pencil is not really a drawing tool. The pencil is actually a mechanical tool that eventually became a drawing tool.
Okay.
It became the premier drawing tool
So it started for writing or
for writing.
yeah, to keep
For
information.
not even for keeping information, to mark things.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We'll get into that.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah. Let's get into the facts.
A pencil is an implement for drawing constructed of a narrow, solid pigment core and a protective casing that prevents the core from being broken and or marking the user's hand. So that's the main thing of the pencil, is that it's got a sort of pigment, but it's encased in something to prevent it to get on your hands.
On your hands. Mhm.
Versus, let's say, charcoal
Yeah.
or paint
Yeah.
or things like that. Pencils create marks by physical abrasion, leaving a trail of solid core material that adheres to a sheet of paper or other surfaces. They are distinct from pens, which dispense liquid or gel ink onto a marked surface. So a pencil compared to a pen or gel is that a pencil, through the abrasion of rasping the pencil on the surface, you leave behind the mark. That's the key thing. Most pencil cores are made of graphite powder mixed with clay binder. That's important to note, that it's graphite.
Yeah.
It's not lead.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about pencil lead, and it's not lead. It's actually graphite in clay, in a clay binder. Graphite pencils, traditionally known as lead pencils, quote unquote, in quotes, a lead pencil, produce gray or black marks that are easily erased, but otherwise resistant to moisture. All right, blah, 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 blah. The rest of this is blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's just talk about the word.
Yeah.
The
Where
word
it came
pencil,
from.
Old French, pincel.
Oh, okay.
So that was interesting. The word pencil doesn't really actually refer to a graphite lead tool. The word pencil refers to pincel, which actually refers to a brush.
Yeah, exactly.
In Spanish, pincel, a brush.
It's a brush. Mm-hmm.
And so in English, when you say pencil, you're actually saying a French word.
Mm-hmm.
And you think that by saying pencil,
You're saying,
something,
yeah.
you know, but it's pincel, and it's actually, it refers to a fine brush of camel hair. So the pincel is the camel hair brush.
I mean, but that kind of makes sense because before pencil, people were writing with brushes, with
Exactly.
kind of like, a brush with the ink
Mm-hmm.
on the side, and they will write letters or stuff.
So here they talk about the discovery of the pencil sometime in 1565, 1500s, England. They found a big deposit of graphite. Apparently it was originally the people that were using it. I don't know if this is 100% true or just a fun fact, but there was people that were marking their sheep.
Okay.
They needed a way to mark their sheep. They were sheep herders, farmers, and they needed a way to mark their sheep. So they found this graphite. They figured that the graphite would be a good way to mark the wool of the sheep on the body of the sheep just by leaving a mark on them. And that's where it started. The whole thing started with like, hey, this is a good tool. Let's use this rock that we found, this material, and let's mark the sheep with that. And then eventually it was like, well, we can use this to actually mark more things and then to write. And then when they started using it to write and all that stuff, then they started saying, well, how can we do it so it doesn't get on your hands? Because it's like charcoal.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's graphite, right?
Yeah.
So then they said, well, let's use it. Let's bind it into clay. Let's put it into the. First, they started using, I think, materials to wrap it in. But eventually, they figured out to use wood, and that's when it became more popular.
Wow.
By putting the turning into fine lead inside of the wood, and then eventually, fast forward, it comes to the United States. They invented the way of doing it in a hexagon shape. So instead of being circular, they learned that they could make more pencils and save the wood. And actually shape more pencils by making it a hexagon shape. So it has those flat edges instead of being, smooth and and that became part of the modern pencil. And then eventually they added an eraser and the metal with the eraser on the tip, and that was the game changer, because then it became a tool that was its own tool. You didn't need a pencil and something to erase.
Exactly. No, you have everything.
Everything was in the one, and then it became what you were describing. It became a writing tool where you could erase.
Yeah.
As opposed to all these years people were painting and inking.
Yeah.
So you left a mark and it was permanent. Now you can think and rethink, and you can take back what you wrote.
Edit your words.
And that's a game changer. Believe it or not, back then that was a game changer. You had an undo button.
Of course.
And I think people now take it for granted.
Yeah.
You have a pencil. You have the power to put your ideas down lightly, to erase them, to take it back, to redo them. And people don't realize the power they have with the pencil.
And I don't know if that happened to you, but what happens is that as kids, we use pencil for so long, and they keep you using pencil when you're in school, because if you have to erase something or anything, when you get to a certain grade or when you get to college, you don't want to use pencil no more.
Of course,
you want to use the pen.
Yep.
And then from there, you continue to use the pen without realizing, well, if you make a mistake with the pen, you're making a mess.
Right.
While when you had with the pencil the ability to erase and edit your words.
Yep.
So that's funny, because now that's what we do as people growing up.
Yeah. So the pencil became yellow. They decided to go with a yellow paint for the shell of the pencil, because they were trying to market it. Apparently, the finest pencils or whatever were coming from Asia.
Okay.
And they were trying to market the idea that all the pencils made in England or wherever they might be made, or in Siberia, wherever, that they would be painted gold, because gold was a color from Asia.
Oh.
It was yellow.
Interesting.
Yellow was a color. It was a color of royalty from Asia. So by association, they figured, well, if we paint it yellow, people are going to
Yeah.
think that it's more expensive and a finer quality, and that's where they ended up sticking to yellow.
Wow. For
That's-
me, the yellow just represents school.
Exactly.
Now, for me, yeah, I see it, and it's
Exactly.
like yellow bus.
Exactly.
You know, the sign for school. It's
Yeah.
kind of like in that type of yellow. But that's interesting to know.
So, not to bore you with any more history, let's get to the fun facts. Let's get into, not the fun facts, but let's get into the fun tips.
Yes.
Drawing with a pencil, power of the pencil. I think the pencil is one of the most powerful tools. It like we said, it allows you to edit, it allows you to erase, it allows you to do all these things. But what a pencil allows you to really do, and this is my opinion as an artist, a pencil allows you to imitate many different mediums, and all in black and white, all in just a grayscale. With a pencil, you can do hard edges, you can do cross hatching. With a pencil, you can do very soft fades. You can use a smudging tool or the tip of your finger to smudge the pencil and give you a very soft, almost airbrushy, almost watercolory kind of looks.
Yeah.
Or you can use the pencil on its side, and you can pass it along a rough paper and get like a nice charcoal look where it crumbles up and you get a very grainy feeling. And a combination of all these things can happen in your drawing. And I don't think people take advantage of that. I think people, when they draw with a pencil, especially when they sketch, a pencil is a tool that you can do either a final piece of art or a quick sketch. You know, that's what you can do with a pencil. You don't really do that with other mediums.
Yeah.
But with a pencil, it's there for you at the drop of a dime. You can pick up a pencil, piece of paper, and the only thing stopping you is your imagination. You can use the pencil to plot very technical. If you sharpen it very well and you use a ruler and everything, you can get very technical lines and perspective, and you can do something that is either lettering or architectural or like a mechanical kind of drawing. Or you can at the same time mix that and just smear some of it with a kneaded eraser or an eraser. You can smudge some of it off, erase some of it, and then start going into it in a very loose fashion on top of that. So this mixture of styles
And textures.
and all that is something that you can do with a pencil so easily, and people don't take advantage of that. I think that's where I wanted to kind of speak on this, because I think some of you artists out there, some of you beginning artists that might take the pencil for granted and might think that you have to move on to oil paint. I have to move on to airbrushing. Or if you're a graffiti artist, I've got to move on to markers right away. I need Copic markers. That's the only way. But you're not taking advantage, if you haven't taken advantage fully of a pencil and what you can do with a pencil, then you're kind of missing out some information that's in your mind, some ideas that you have. Because you're going to hit the markers, and the markers are going to give you some ideas too. I'm all for that. I'm all for mixed media. But the pencil is going to allow you to experiment quickly and get some ideas down on paper that you normally, it would take you more time to do otherwise. I always, when I first started drawing with pencils, I always associated with a photograph. Because I always saw black and white photographs, and I said, well, if photography can do that in black and white, then I should be able to do that with a pencil.
Yeah.
If a photograph can represent a real life thing and all that, just by using lighting on a piece of paper, then I should be able to do the same thing with my pencil. I should be able to lay down my shadows and all my stuff and represent some sort of likeness to reality. But I think now at this point in my life, having drawn so many years with pencils and pens and markers and this and that and the other, I can appreciate how a pencil can allow you, especially the erasing part, can allow you to do and undo. Especially now that I work with computers so much.
Yeah.
I see the relationship between designing on a computer and sketching in a book with a pencil. I see the relationship there, that if you allow yourself to sit down with your paper, your sketchbook, with the right frame of mind, you can actually explore ideas very quickly, and you can explore some complex ideas. Another thing that a pencil allows you to do is build up in layers. A pencil, people don't take advantage of that, but a pencil allows you to lightly sketch a lot of things in a certain grade, let's say a light grade of grays, and then start to build up on that a different concept. So you can layer your your imagery. You can start to develop a background, and then if you do it light enough, right on top of that, start to develop the characters in the front by laying down a little heavier pencil.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't think people take advantage of. I think
No.
I think when the people sketch, they just go straight into the sketch and they don't allow themselves that technical know-how.
And more now that we have so many different types of pencils, because before maybe it was just that number 2, but now there's different sizes and colors, so you can maybe combine different pencils in one drawing, right?
Well, you also have the different grades of pencil.
Yeah, that's what I was.
One of the tips that I'll definitely give you guys when you are sketching with a pencil: don't scribble. Realize that even the scribble lines are part of your art. And blending them won't go away. Like if you do scribbles, it's because you want your art to look scribbly. So if you're sketching, try to focus your lines and try to make them mean something. Try to use smooth lines from light to dark if you're going to do any shading. Always try to keep a light touch. Always keep your pencil sharp. I think sharpening your pencil is one of the things that people forget to do the most. Also, remember your contrast. Remember your line quality also. Sometimes when you're sketching with a pencil, you just think, well, it's a pencil, it doesn't matter. But the line that you put down does matter, and it will reflect on your final drawing. And it can affect your train of thought if you're brainstorming and sketching. And for me, my favorite pencils, I use an HB, I use a 2B, and I have an ebony pencil that I like to use for the darkest. And between those 3 and a kneaded eraser and a piece of paper, that's all I need to get cut loose. I'm going to post some images of some sketches for you guys to see.
Yeah. They look great.
Yeah, you guys get out there, sketch, use your pencils, the power of the pencil. It's in your hands.
Pero si no estás haciendo todo igual, no tiene ningún color el paso que hace. Separa menos tiempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 y 10. 2.
Culture Talk. What? We're back.
We are back to Culture Talk.
What are we
And
doing?
this Culture Talk,
Yes.
we're going to be reviewing season 3 of our favorite show. One of our favorites.
And I don't know. After this season, I don't know if it's my favorite anymore, but
One Day at a Time. Aplauso.
Pause. Hey.
Okay, yes.
One Day
so
at a Time on Netflix.
We're going to review season 3 of One Day at a Time. If you guys are familiar with the show, it is a version of One Day at a Time.
The original show. Yeah, so this is
An original show.
This is a remake
It's a
of
remake.
the old show One Day at a Time from the 70s or 80s. 70s.
Yeah.
And it's on Netflix. It's like Carla said, on its 3rd season. It's a comedy. It does mix some drama with comedy. It's a family story of a Latino family, Cuban.
A Cuban family that moves to Los Angeles.
I think it's Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And they have the grandmother,
Who is Rita Moreno.
and then you have the mom, you have her kids, which are I don't know their names, but it's a boy and a girl. Now they're big. The kid is already big now.
Yeah.
The girl is a Latinx.
She's
symbol.
lesbian.
Yes.
And the boy is just, any spoiled Latino boy in the family that, how is in Latino households, that the boy doesn't do anything, but he receives everything from the grandma, mom,
everybody
else.
And then they got Schneider, who is the
super.
He's the owner of the building.
The
owner of the building. He's also the super. He is a friend of the family, and he, through the seasons, has become close to the family. He's got a strong relationship with them.
Yeah.
They have their falling outs, then they had come back together, and this, that, and the other. But he's basically typical American. I think he's Canadian. He's supposed to be Canadian. from a wealthy family who owns the building in this neighborhood, and he is just kind of like a hipster and just like a guy, bachelor.
Yeah, a
Basically
bachelor.
yeah.
Yeah. And then these are the main characters, and then we have other characters that come and go to basically make the story complete. And during this season, as on the other seasons, they mix comedy with drama. You get these moments where it's a family conversation, and it's also a social conversation because they touch on a lot of things that are happening right now in society. Like, for example, the Me Too movement. There's an episode where they're talking about Finsta, which I didn't know what that was, but Finsta is an Instagram for friends. So supposedly that young people now, teenagers, are creating Finstas, which are Instagrams for friends, just for their an account just for their friends, an Instagram account just for their friends. And over there they post photos of themselves or whatever they want to share with their friends. And the son of the family is sharing some photos of girls and of him with girls, making comments that are kind of machista. And the mother gets to see this post, and they start telling him that he is being machista, and that he is basically talking about women in a disrespectful manner. And that's how they start with the Me Too movement, and they basically escalate the way that he talks about women to what can happen to women outside if they're walking on the streets and somebody is telling them.
Yeah, it took a serious turn.
Yeah.
The episode.
Yeah, and then if what can happen to women if they're walking on the street and someone is calling them names, or in a private environment where men can take advantage of women. And then they take a little thing that happened with him to give examples of bigger things and tell him, hey, this is not right. It starts like this, and then it can continue to be like this other thing. That's one of the topics that they touch on that is pretty serious.
Yeah, I just, because you got me with this thing about Finsta, I just researched it, and Finsta is fake Insta.
It's fake Insta.
Fake Instagram is a Finsta.
Oh.
And this is something that the 20-somethings and the teens are doing, creating their own little fake account so they can be wild and do whatever they want.
Oh, okay.
Basically like what Tumblr was.
Exactly. Yeah, Tumblr was basically that. And you were like in a quiet, secretive space that nobody knew about
space.
Tumblr.
Yeah.
Safe space where you can share your craziness.
All right, but yeah, I think that episode was interesting. The funny thing is that it was one of the first episodes, and immediately it made the show get kind of serious kind of fast.
Yeah.
And that, I think, set the tone for the whole season, where I think the best season so far was the second season.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I think the other seasons had some serious stuff, but they didn't hit you over the head right away. Mm-hmm. Or maybe the other stuff wasn't like recent, or I couldn't identify with it. Mm-hmm. But I think here this season they really try to like hit you over the head with social commentary.
Yeah, so they did that, but also they had some fun stuff when they introduced Gloria Estefan as one of Rita Moreno's sisters.
Yeah,
and they had like some type of fallout before getting together again after many years. And what was funny is that the character of Gloria Estefan, which was Rita Moreno's sister, had a daughter. And Penelope, which is Justina Machado, she's the daughter of Rita Moreno. She is trying to also reconnect with her cousin because she really misses her, but because the sisters are not talking to each other, then the cousins cannot talk to each other. But then after everything, the sisters get back together, and the funniest part of that episode is that at the end, when everybody's happy and everybody's back together, the cousin, the daughter of Gloria Estefan, says that, oh, and let's cheers for something like that, and let's cheers for to make America great again, something like that she said. And then Penelope was like, oh, hell no. and
Right.
and she was like, I guess I don't really need you in my life no more. So that was a funny point.
It was interesting because it's good that they dragged Gloria Estefan onto the show. But she does the theme song.
Yeah, she does it.
So that's interesting that they kind of bring her in, and it's the whole Cuban family thing. Even though the actors aren't really Cuban,
Yeah.
the actors on the show playing Cubans aren't really Cuban, but you
At
know,
least they-
Gloria Estefan being a Cuban and then
Yeah.
having her make the theme song and then having her appear, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Gave a little authenticity.
Yeah, that was really cool. They also brought a character of Tito, which was Penelope's brother, and it was mostly also to show how in
Oh, and Penelope's the mom.
Penelope.
I don't know why
the mom, yeah.
I didn't catch her name before.
Penelope, yeah. That's Justina's Machado character, which is the mom, which is the daughter of Rita Moreno.
Right.
Yeah.
It took 3 seasons for me to catch that her name is Penelope.
Penelope. I know. So there's an episode where they bring Penelope's brothers back, which is Tito. And like I was saying, it was mostly to show how in Latino households and families, the brother or the male figure in the family, it's more spoiled.
Yeah, it's got privileges.
And it got privilege and more when you have a daughter and a son, or a sister and a
Right.
brother, where the mother was always justifying that the son couldn't be there when she was in the hospital, or that the son couldn't be there for special occasions, and she will say always that, oh, it's because he's working so much.
Yeah.
It's because he's sacrificing himself, he's so good. And then they have some confrontation when they're at dinner, and basically what the end of the episode showed is that the son was always the baby, so he never was mature enough to overcome certain issues, and that's why he couldn't be there when the mother was sick or when the father died or stuff like that, because he felt like he wasn't prepared to deal with those type of situations.
Right.
Which I think it was a good episode, because that happens a lot in Latino households, and in families in general, I think.
Yeah, I think that was a good point. The idea that that it was such a clear distinction between him being like single and on his own and doing his thing and just
Yeah.
living his best life, and ignoring responsibilities within the family,
Yeah.
the extended family, while she has the 2 kids, divorced, this, that, and the other, struggling, trying to make a better life for her and her family, and always and the mom lives with her on top of that, but he's on his own enjoying himself. And to see the contrast was interesting. The conclusion, I think, was kind of wrapped up kind of quickly, like a regular sitcom where they try
Yeah.
to wrap it up just to make you feel better. But I think it was a good point.
Yeah.
It was a valid.
I really thought that
I
he
liked it.
was coming back on the next episodes.
Right. I thought they were introducing him to make him a permanent character, and they
Yeah,
didn't.
like to try to build up his relationship with the family, and try to make the connection there that he's exists.
That's what I think this season didn't have. That the previous seasons had more connections episode to episode.
Yeah.
This one felt not so connected that way. It felt like we have a problem this episode, it's
true.
resolved. Next episode, new problem, resolved.
Resolve. Yeah, it's true. But the only thing that I saw connection with, it was Schneider.
Right. So let's talk about that. Schneider. So he's a big part of this season.
Yeah, so this season basically is the development and the story of Schneider. And he is a alcoholic.
He's an alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic.
Recovering alcoholic.
Right.
And what happened in this season is that he met someone, so he was going to get serious with her, but then his father comes into town, and he comes from a family that is privileged, that is white, and that is rich. So his father comes to the building, and he tries to kind of reconnect with his son, but his whole purpose was to go to the building to check it out, so then he can sell it,
Right.
and build a condo in that place. But what happened is that the father brings him a bottle of alcohol, like a tequila or something.
Yeah, it was some expensive bottle in a box and all that kind of stuff. And then Schneider's tempted to drink it, and then it's the whole thing of, because he got into an argument with his father because his father wants to sell the building because the building was so good, and Schneider felt like a resentment towards his father because he was like, well, finally you recognize that I do something good, the work that I'm doing in this building, but it's only for you to take advantage of it and sell it. And then Schneider doesn't want to do that. So then now he dismisses his father, but in the process, he ends up building this resentment, and he starts going back to the drinking to identify with his father. So it's obvious that a lot of his drug problems and alcoholism comes from his past relationship with his father or his personal relationship in the family. And then, the main characters of the One Day at a Time show, the Latino family, they come in and try to help him. They see the signs, they see the symptoms, they try to confront them, they try to put that weight on him to say, hey, look, we're all here for you, and you're setting a bad example for the kids in this family. And it, eventually it's resolved where he goes
back to Alcoholic Anonymous.
Exactly. He goes back to AA, and then he's like, hey, I'm an alcoholic, blah, blah. I need to start again. Basically, the conclusion was you were sober for so long, and now you just got to start again.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
But the process of this took at least like 4 episodes, because it was up to towards the end. So it was like from the middle to the season of the season up to the end, because they don't reveal that he's drinking right away. We know it because we know that the sensation is gonna be hard, and that he had a lot of anxiety and things going on, and more with his father coming into his life again. So they don't show that he's drinking, and that it's so bad up to one point where he's found by the son
in the laundry room, drunk on the floor with a bottle.
yeah
by
the son of the family, and he goes in and he's like, hey, what's going on, are you okay? And he gets a little bit violent, and that's when the son calls his mother, and they get him, and then like, you know what, this is too much, that's it. And that's when they go back to rehabilitation.
Yeah. Well, I think definitely. So I do enjoy the show, and I enjoy the characters on the show. I do think that he is an interesting character, and they did develop him. They developed him more, fleshed him out more as a human, personality.
Yeah.
But they got rid of his girlfriend.
Yeah.
They brought in a girlfriend and then got rid of her super fast.
Yeah, true.
Which I felt was developing his character, but then they kind of just made her fade away quick. I think the mom in this season is another character that shines a lot, because she has this relationship, a new boyfriend.
Yeah.
Who this guy who's like it's like a
Mateo.
Yeah, Mateo. He's supposed to be a Colombian on the show, but he's supposed to be like a friend zone character, like her bestie.
Yeah.
That she decides, fuck it, I'll have a relationship with him. But then after a few episodes, realizes that there's no real spark and
chemistry,
magic between them. It's just friendship.
Yeah.
So that also comes and goes, and it's interesting for a moment, but then they kind of fade it out, and I feel like that's something that I didn't enjoy maybe about the season, that they kind of just turned it back into a regular sitcom where you're not building up, you're just kind of like introducing and fading out,
I think they tried too much. Maybe the simple stories were better, where you can see more about the family connection, family's interaction, than bringing up topics and relationships that were not going to end up anywhere. Yeah. Well, another thing that they talk about is anxiety.
Anxiety?
Yes, and depression.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they had the big episode with that. Yeah,
because the mom is suffering from anxiety and depression, and she is going to kind of like a therapy or a group where everybody talks about their problems, and then she's in the struggle of should she tell her kids that she's suffering from this condition or not tell them. And what happened is that the daughter actually has an anxiety attack when she is going to take a driver's license test.
Yeah.
And that's when she realized, oh no, I have to really. Oh no, she's studying at home. That's what's happening. She's studying and she has so much to do that she gets very anxious. And that's when the mother realizes, oh no, I have to talk to you about this because maybe you might be suffering and you don't even know what's happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was actually a pretty good, I think from all the topics that they talk about in the episode, I think that was the most...
I was going to say the same thing.
The best one, because it's something that you can relate to. It's something that is a taboo in Latino families. And this was something that I wanted to talk about in the podcast. Because I feel like even my mom, she knows that she kind of like suffers from being anxious sometimes and being a little bit, like she cannot control certain things. So it makes her like her pressure will go up and stuff like that. And what happens is that in Latino households, in Latino families, it's like, oh, it's normal to have blood pressure, high blood pressure. It's just because,
because we're spicy.
Exactly. No, but for real, like it's normal, but it's not. It's not normal because you're not treating you're not having therapy or someone that you can talk to maybe, so that you can clear up your head and things that you're feeling that might not be that serious, or you don't have to take it that seriously, because maybe are things that are out of your control, so maybe you can just let it be.
Well, I think you're right. That's actually a good topic. It's universal. A lot of people could identify with it. It's good writing. They illustrated it really well by making the scenes turn black and white whenever she was feeling the anxiety attack, the panic attack, and showing the extreme imagery and hallucination that she's having of a situation, and then turning it back to regular color and showing how nothing's really happening. It's just all in her imagination. Yeah. I think that was interesting. That was really good. And I agree with you. Yes, I think we live in a world, and some of us more than others, we live in a world that it's full of a lot of pressure and a lot of anxiety. I can definitely confess that when I was a teenager, I had a huge anxiety moment in my life that took over me for a good month and a half. Where I think I just didn't really know where I was heading. It's just that whole teenage to man type of time period where you don't know where you're going. You feel like you're at the end of your rope. You're like, what's next? I don't understand. Nothing makes sense. Where am I? What am I even doing? Like, what is this? Nothing works. Nothing makes sense. And I remember going through a lot of things where I had to be kind of talked down, talked off the ledge a little bit, where people had to be like, in their own way, kind of talking me back down and calming me down and making me see that, it's not the end of the world. And I think they illustrated it very well. And I guess you're right. It's a subject that I don't know if it was specifically a Latino culture thing, but I will tell you that yes, in the world that we are right now, and if you're living in the United States, you probably, if you are Latino, you probably do have some extra anxiety in the back of your head. Not that you over other cultures have more anxieties. No. But I just can't speak for the other cultures. So I can only speak for Latino culture. Yes, I know that there are anxieties there. I know there are things that are in the back of your mind.
And it's a lot also of cultural stuff that maybe you're expected to be, or you're expected to fulfill.
Right.
And living in the United States, maybe so far from actual home, is so difficult because you cannot be whatever your family is trying you to be, or or fulfill whatever they want to be, because maybe you are in your own mind. You have so many things grabbing your attention. So
I think this topic is a good topic. We should definitely explore it on a different episode.
Yeah, I know.
Because I think there's a lot there, and I definitely think it could also be just the culture clash.
yeah,
Of having a culture that you have at home versus a culture that you see outside in the world
Yeah.
can cause this like anxiety in you.
yeah,
I could also see that as well.
yeah,
But
of course.
wrapping up this review of this,
Wrapping off one day at a time, I
Yes.
definitely think that it's a great show. It can be worked out so that it can be like season 2, season 1, where it was focusing the family and a little bit about the neighbors, but maybe a little bit more of the connection within the family and development within them.
I mean, spoilers for One Day at a Time for the show.
I mean, the
But
whole
they even
episode
went,
is spoilers. but-
They even went to the point of having the freaking grandma die.
Yeah, exactly. Almost dying.
No, they had her die in the episode and come back.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
They had her
she gets
see the
to-
light and see her dead,
True,
husband, and then
true.
come back
And say
because it's not
something.
her time yet.
Yeah.
So they even went to the point of having her die. So I mean, this show has gone to the extreme.
Yes.
And come back.
And come back.
It's done so many topics that I think the thing that I would have wanted is for it to just keep building. And build up upon what you've already established with these characters.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only part where I wasn't so happy with the conclusion of this season.
Yeah.
But I still like it. I still.
But I hope for a season 4.
Of course,
And guys,
of course, yes.
so this is happening. You guys need to watch the show because they need more viewers in order for them to renew it for the next season. So
go to
if-
Netflix.
Go to Netflix if you haven't watched it.
Or your bootleg.
Well, no, go to Netflix if you haven't watched it, and watch season 1, 2, and 3, and hopefully we'll get a season 4 of One Day at a Time.
Yeah, it's a good show.
You wanted me to teach you, right? This is street reality.
Oh man, hablando español, Carla. We came back from Colombia. We're back here in New York.
Yes.
I hope you brought back some Spanish for me.
Yes, I have some Spanish for you.
Oh, you really? What Spanish you got for me? Go ahead, hit me.
How do you say?
Wait. Hold on.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Before we start this, just in case there's some new listeners out there, because I see you guys out there. Hablando Español is a section that we do in every episode, which is basically, it is our way, mine and Carla's way of exchanging words. I'm obviously stronger in English. She's stronger in Spanish.
Yes.
Sometimes. But
This Puerto Rican stuff is not easy, man.
But it's our way of enforcing and reinforcing a time in our week where we actually force ourselves to practice Spanish and to investigate some words, and we'll challenge each other in a playful way to come up with. Do you know this word in Spanish? No.
Exactly.
All right, let's find. Do you know this word in English? Nope.
No.
Okay, let's
So
find
let's
out.
find it.
And it's not so much about learning Spanish; it's more about speaking Spanish. Hablando español is literally speaking Spanish. That means just practicing it. Practice the words you do know.
Yeah.
Let's
that's
go.
What it is. Okay.
Hablando
so,
español.
Hablando español. How do you say
Yes.
power?
Power. I know. And it's often used. Poderoso. O poder. Power is poder.
Yes.
Poder is
And what's
power.
poderoso?
Poderoso is powerful. Pero poder, that's
Yes.
interesting. Because
Why?
poder is also can do.
Yes. So if you have the power, you can do it.
But that's not true in English.
I know, but
Power is not the same thing in English. That's interesting.
yeah.
I wonder what that means about English. But in Spanish, poder is strength and power, but poder is like to be able to.
Yeah.
To be able to do.
Yeah.
Specifically to do. To be able to do.
Yeah.
It's
That's what
interesting.
it is in
All right.
Spanish.
All right, dale.
Okay, how do you say
Yes.
beyond?
Beyond. Ooh, that's a good one. Beyond. It's one word? No.
No.
I knew it. Okay, so I do know it. Beyond is más allá?
Yes.
It is? No.
Al infinito y más allá. You remember?
No, I don't remember.
You don't know who's that?
Yes, Buzz Lightyear, but I never
Oh,
saw it.
Buzz Light.
I never saw it.
So
in
how
Spanish.
you know it?
Because I translated it quickly in my
Al
bilingual
infinito
brain.
y más allá. Yeah, Buzz Light. Yeah. So más allá is beyond.
Seriously.
Yes.
A bit. I feel like.
There's more definitions for it, but that's it.
Okay, yeah, no, you're right. 100%.
Más allá.
Más allá.
How do you
Beyond.
say this is the power of pencil, so we have to do it? How do you say pencil?
Oh man, you're gonna kill me with this because we're gonna have 5 different words.
No,
Pencil.
not
is-
for pencil.
Bueno, pero. All right, so pencil.
Oh,
The way I always say
God.
pencil is lápiz,
Yeah, that's what it is, lápiz.
but I have heard people say pincel.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
Who?
I have heard it used that way. So
I don't know who you said that, but okay.
no.
No, lápiz is lápiz.
Okay.
Pincel is pincel. Okay.
Sorry.
How do you say number 2?
That sounds funny. Number 2. Number 2 is número dos.
Okay.
Número dos.
How do you say
Yes.
imitate?
Imitate. Imitate is. Oh, I almost tripped on that one. Imitar.
Yes.
Imitate is imitar.
Do you remember you were talking about what's the pencil made of? And there's a material that is
Oof.
called graphite. ¿Cómo es?
Graphite.
Graphite.
Yeah.
How you say that in Spanish?
That I don't know. Graphite. Let me think about it for a second. Graphite in Spanish. That's a good one, Carla. That's a good challenge right there. Graphite.
Yeah.
El lápiz tiene carbón.
No.
It's not carbón.
No.
Carbón is
Carbon.
carbon.
Carbon is carbon, but graphite is, you want to know?
Yes, please.
Grafito.
No.
Yes.
No.
Grafito. It's a specific material because it's not carbon, it's grafito.
Grafito.
Yes.
Grafito is graphite.
Grafito.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that graphite, grafito, and graffiti.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Very interesting.
Graphite, graphic art,
Mm-hmm.
graphite. We were just talking about the power of the pencil, and a graphic artist that doesn't realize that it's coming from.
That is coming from a pencil. And how do you say anxiety?
Anxiety?
Ay, esa palabra anxiety, yeah.
Ansiedad.
Okay, good. That's it.
Carla, we wrapped up another episode,
That's right.
and I learned a lot of Spanish straight from the streets of Cartagena. Thank you, Carla.
You know it. Yes. Perfecto.
Wait, so you go to Colombia for a minute, and now you're straight from the streets of Cartagena. I go to
Sí,
Puerto Rico,
I'm from Cartagena.
Tú eres de Cartagena.
Yo soy de Boca Grande.
Oh yeah.
No, yo soy de Barú.
De Barú?
De la playa Barú.
Oh my God. And when I go to Puerto Rico, yo
You're
soy,
de Playita.
yo soy de playita. Pa'
Yeah.
mi gente en playita, ya tú
Ya tú
sabes.
sabes. So next episode, I might have another review
Okay.
of a movie.
Cool. Let's do this. Next episode, guys. Tune back in.